Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 5 of our 7-day beginner series for using Sudowrite. So today we're going to be looking at generating style. We're going to use the chapter generator and the write features just to show you that there's more than one way to write. And we'll actually be working on ways you can tweak your style output. So this shouldn't be information heavy, but it will might end up being a long class, especially when we look at the ways to tweak your style and stuff. Your homework, if you're doing these things, run the same stride of beats. Remember, a stride is 2 beats. Run the stride of beats through each of the models inside the chapter generator, and then pick 2 or 3 models that you want to work with. You should do this with a minimal style box. So just telling it third person, first person, present, past. Those just the little things. Keep it simple. Run that and see which ones you like. You will see that you tend to lean towards certain models and others you will despise. So please do that if you want. It will run through credits, but this is generally the only time because after that, you will be able to see, oh, this one cost a lot, but I really like it, so I'll use it in this instance. This one's really cheap, but it was really good too, so I can use this one the majority of time. You'll start seeing things like that as you play and do this little exercise right here. So remember, take a stride. If I had the beats here, I would actually delete the rest just so there's no accidental, oh, it went and did this whole chapter on me. I would delete them, move them to another chapter if you want to save it. So just run that one stride of beats through each of these models. So you have premium, excellent, basic, and then you have these that you can choose from down here. My go-to is Best Prose version 1. I also like fastest. Yeah, those are pretty much what I go to. We generated with 4.0 in class. No, we used basic in class a while ago. I was actually really happy with that one. And I know a lot of people love Mixtral, and it's cheap too. But play around with it. Let me see if there's anything else. Yes, you'll have the featured styles, so we'll go over that real quick. So we'll actually look at that first. So featured styles are relatively new. I think they've maybe been out a month now. And the sample of prose each one gives, it was done with the same style box, so you can see kind of what they do. I do wish they had, because this dark and foreboding is not dark enough, in my opinion, so I would like one that's a bit darker. I think they need one for comedy as well. But my favorites are the gritty. That's my go-to, especially for my mafia stuff. My second favorite is actually the refined and literary. I did not really like any of these for my YA stories, which, believe it or not, are actually clean. But the action packed was pretty good. It just needed some tweaking to get that voice better. So play around with those. If you want to use the feature styles for that stride generation, you can. But again, I think it's better to have that minimal style box so you see what is this model's tendency? What does it lean towards doing? And then your next step is playing with style box, tweaking that so you really get the output that you want. We did not go over match my style, and I'm only going to briefly cover that. So you could put up to 2,000 words of your writing. It will condense it down. Let me grab, I'll go ahead and grab all this. So click the match my style, paste up to 2,000 words in there, and click next. This output that's fixing to come up, the long version, is very good. Most people really like this. Is it just me or is that blurry? I have new glasses. Really shouldn't be blurry. But a lot of people like to save this. I do not recommend using this send to doc button. I can't remember what change was made, but this button seems to be broken now. As a matter of fact, I think I need to do a bug report on that. Bear with me just a moment. So what I do is I just use my keyboard keys, copy it, and I wait to paste it after I leave this box. So what's happening with the send to doc, it's either not sending to the document at all, but also it's closing this out, so you have to start over. And it's already generated something, so it's already caused you. You may as well keep going. So click next after you've copied that. Now this part, you can tell it, hey, go ahead and insert it in the style box. Most people don't like what this does with the prose. So use it to give you ideas, but I will tell you, me personally, I've never really liked what it's done for my style box. That's why I like the long output. Now, one thing to do, so I'm just going to copy in that long output right here. Whenever you get to this section of that screen, when you're using Match My Style, you can edit this. You don't just have to go with whatever it gives you. So if stuff isn't right, go ahead and change it, because that does help the minimal output be a little bit better and more accurate for you. So you can change that in that section and then click the next button. All right, so that's featured styles and the usual way to use Match My Style. Something I actually like to do with Match My Style is different. I actually like to do it for each chapter in my outline. Do I do this consistently? No, it's kind of when I think about it or need some extra wording ideas. I copy that chapter summary, and I actually like to put that inside Match My Style. So I'll do that. And mainly what I'm looking for is that tone of the scene, because that's what I kind of have the most trouble nailing down in my head. So again, I would copy this to save it. This is really awesome for when I like to sit down and have all of my genre and style boxes ready to go, so I can just quickly restore or copy paste, because you do want to change those up as you go through different scenes. But really all I'm looking for is this right here, this tone and mood. So I don't even bother going to the next step. I just copy. I do go ahead and copy all of it just in case something else grabs my attention, and then I exit out of there. That is my preferred workflow method for it. And then I would paste that in a document. Again, mostly this is what I'm looking for, some wording here for me to use inside my genre or style box. I just find that does help more than anything. And it works really well as a complement to my regular genre and style wording. Oh, thank you, Stephanie. All right, so we're going to work on tweaking our style more as we go. Right now, we got third person, past tense, warm and engaging, lots of satire and humor. I think this will work good. And I am actually going to use we're going to use chapter 2 to generate with that. Remember, if the Beats box is not here, look at that typewriter icon. It's grayed out. So I just need to click that. And this is the one I want. So I think I went through most of this and adjusted it already. I am going to keep these beats just for simplicity's sake, but there was some changes I wanted to show. So I got rid of the wording, those cliches, if it talks about how that character's moving gracefully, God forbid the words with determination, anything like that, get rid of it, because again, it's going to snowball and carry over into your prose. So I did, you know what? One thing I want to do, so again, this is a beat and this is a beat. And since they're the first two beats, it's going to be written as a stride together. I actually do not want that in this instance. Why? because this is them going into the forest, and I actually want to draw this scene out a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is do the ellipses. Thank you, John Creason, for that. So it actually sees this as a beat, that ellipses right there. It sees it and counts it as a beat. And all it's really doing is saying continue. So yes, I'm giving it free rein, but I'm just letting it know, hey, continue this scene a little bit more. And as far as this one, I'm going to break this up. So is there a chance these are going to be too thin? Yes. That's where I come into play, actually sitting down and doing my part. But since I have no clue how I want this story to go, I'm going to go ahead and just say, okay, I do know I want this scene drug out more. I can deal with looping later, especially if I know to expect it already. I won't be so disappointed. Right now, what I would be doing, since I don't have good ideas for this story or a cemented idea in my head of how it's going to play out, I am looking for ideas from the AI. Yes, it's going to cost credits when I generate. This is an instance where you can use a super cheap model. But again, I will read through that prose, and that usually helps me decide, yes, I want this. No, I definitely do not want anything like this. And then I can go back and do better beats. So I'm going to make that one too. So now we have these two beats, and now this one is acting as two beats. Let's see. He tells her, I'm going to combine this one a little bit. Confesses the queen's plan. And bear with me while I think of how I want to do this. So he confesses the queen's plan. She's undeterred because she is naive. And I'm going to change this because, again, remember, I actually wanted him to be trying to do his job and killing her. And yes, this doesn't quite align, but again, I'm still getting ideas in my head, but I want to let the AI know this isn't an instance of him letting Snow White go. Or at least not out of the kindness of his heart. So giving Snow White a chance to escape. I am actually going to keep that line, but I'm going to change this. So again, it's not out of, some fondness for Snow White. I'm going to say frustrated and ready to let's see, let's change that to make more sense. So frustrated. He decides to have fun and play with Snow White's emotions. Giving Snow White a chance at escape. And making her think.
And Nicole, while you're thinking,
Mhm.
there is a question in chat that is a really good question, and it has to do with the how do you instruct the AI to avoid, or as we like to also say, shun flowery prose, the purple prose that we all try to avoid as much as possible.
So you're going to get the best results nailing down your style. Is that an easy feat? No. It took months before I was happy with it. And then I'd say another year before I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is the one. And I was getting almost 100% usable prose. So style box is one. Going back to our genre stuff, don't use those generic fantasy romance terms, all of that, because that will just lead you straight into Clicheville. So you're going to be tweaking your style, and we're going to walk through how to do that a little bit today. You can also further guide it. Is Stacy here?
Yeah, I'm here.
And you can also further guide it up here. I know Stacy likes to use Shun Purple Prose. I typically don't say that because, again, I've nailed down my style enough to where I don't tell it that. Something I also want y'all to keep in mind when you're guiding the AI, no matter what section it's in, it does better when you tell it what to do versus what not to do. And I always liken it to telling a toddler not to make a mess. Or, you know, don't do what you're not supposed to do. Something very vague, and yet in their mind, oh, this isn't making a mess. It's just me playing and making the walls pretty. It's not a mess at all. So tell it what you want to do. Keep it clean or keep it gritty and crude. Use certain types of language. Keep it simple, minimal descriptions, whatever you're wanting. You're going to get better with telling it what to do versus the general terms of what to avoid or not do. But they work great when combined. And Stacy, oh, that wasn't
I knew what you were thinking.
Shun. Yeah, Stacy swears by Shun. I use the word avoid and I capitalize avoid because capital letters does make the AI pay more attention. So style box, tweaking your style box will have, in my opinion, the most impact. And you can also further reinforce things up here if you really want to tell it to avoid something. Another of my favorites, I will put this in chat, and I can put this in every single beat and it will not mess anything up. Avoid cliche speech and dialogue. That is one of my all-time favorites and a go-to for mine. Again, I will put it at the end of every single beat. Let's say two female best friends are having a conversation. I know the AI is going to try and get cheesy on me. I don't want that. So I have no problem with shoving that in there at the end of each beat, and it works great. All right. Get rid of that crazy wording. So Snow White. I'm going to try and darken it up just a little bit, but with our style and genre, I don't think it's going to work very well. So she disappeared from view Emerald Shadows. Okay. Yeah. Again, get rid of wording. Rid of this, and I'm just going to say, and I'm going to do one of the AI's favorite phrases just to see. Or let's change it up. All right, so those are just minor changes, really. I know it might seem like a lot, but it's really not. There's still so much more work that can be done with these beats. Mainly, once I'd have that idea of how this scene really should play out, I can put those details in here. But again, I don't. So I'm making it so these are two beats. These are two different beats. Let's see, this one. Make sure that was one. So it is counting as one. And that's one, and then this one. All right, so one stride, two strides, three, four. It's going to be 5 strides total. So let's generate this real quick. And I'm going to use, let's use basic, since people seem to like that one a lot lately, and it is pretty cheap. But if you want a different model, just click that arrow right there. Go through. Premium is going to cost you a pretty penny. We have excellent. Sonnet 3.5 is the base model. I like this one for nonfiction. But again, basic is pretty cheap. It follows instructions well. My go-to though, Best Prose Fastest. Play with them. I will tell you right now, most people do not like Best Prose. It veers a lot. I'm one that does like that. But play with these, see what you think. I'm going to use basic. Something to keep in mind, we're going to play with these write settings too, the auto write and guided write. What you select here in chapter generator where we just picked, that does not affect these two. There is the whole settings over here where you decide what model to pick. And again, whatever you pick here does not affect what gets generated with the chapter generator. Two separate features of writing two separate ways of writing prose, and you pick a model in both locations. All right, so it's still going. You can pause it. I'm one that I like to just push it, let it go. Many people like to pause, try to pause between strides, make edits. So if I did pause it, I could make changes, read through it. And then when I start it again, let me actually pause it because I want you to see this. So it's paused at the middle of beat 5, which I think we only had 5 beats. Okay, so he's still with Snow White. So something I can do when I've paused it, again, I could go through, make changes. The AI does take into account those changes you make. It reads back 250 words whenever I click continue. So 250 words is about right here. So it will read back approximately that much when it continues, as well as seeing whatever beat it needs to pick up from. But you have options here. Maybe I decide, you know what? There's a good fight scene or sex scene, and I want to choose a different model for that. I can switch to a different model if I want. It's no big deal. Doesn't mess up anything. And then you also have options here. This is new. And this may get confusing, so just let us know. So you can select the model, you can change it. And then you can also say, have this toggled off. Let's say for whatever reason, you don't want it to read back anything. You want it to start from fresh. You can toggle this off. That way it doesn't have that read back. And you can also start over from beat 1 if you want. Or you do want it to read back, but you want it to go to a different beat. Whatever, you have options right here. So play with those. I would recommend saving all of this stuff right here for when you're a little bit more comfortable with it, okay? But let's just go ahead and continue. Any questions so far?
Chat is clear.
Awesome, thank you. All right, so I wanted to see what he did. Got the let the hunt begin. Oh, so I like this. So as he stood rooted in place, an idea sparked. What if he played along? Yeah, so it took what I told it, and it's just doing something with it that I'm actually liking. Again, I'm one of those, I don't mind getting ideas from the AI. I don't have everything so fermented or so cemented in my mind of how it needs to go that I get mad, unless it really veers. But for the most part, my details are just setting up the scene. I know how I want the room to look, for instance. I know how I want the characters to act personality-wise, or things they might say. But I'm really open to ideas from the AI. Yes, Mr. Don.
Yeah, I thought you said that you only had 5 strides, and I do see a 7 of 7 strides.
I thought I could have very well not read. Let's see. We got 7 beats. So it's doing
Oh,
7 beats. So 1, 2, 3, 4 strides actually. Unless I counted that wrong too, which is very possible, but 7 beats total. And remember, that's what it's doing. It's beats 1, 2, beats 3, 4, and then it goes down to beat 7. Now remember, in our beat 7, we had the jump cut to Narcissus' point of view. So you can see what it does here. So she's telling the henchman to catch up. I'm liking this. Needs some edits, but I'm actually liking the way this goes. So Snow White and the huntsman in the forest. And then with that jump cut, it is now jump cutting to Narcissus' point of view over in the castle. Perhaps if one is fond of the color desperate. Okay, I'm liking the mirror already. But does everybody kind of understand the things you can do with the beats, that jump cut, the way you can have just the ellipses to drag out a scene, separate, combine beats, and then pick the model right here. Yes, this isn't a math class. All right. One of my favorite ways to write is with auto and guided write. This is typically when I'm doing my second draft, so I can do more of the writing. But if you're already at that point, you're like, hey, I want to do the writing. I just need the AI's help occasionally. I think you're going to love auto and guided write. So we'll just continue it. I'm not sure where it leaves off. Actually, let's look at a different chapter real quick. All right, she's meeting the 7 dwarves. Let's do that one. We'll start it from scratch. So I can generate beats and rework those. However, auto and guided write do not see the beats. Let me share this again. I know Stephanie just shared it, but just in case anybody came in. If you scroll down, there's an announcement here, a little notification or message, whatever you want to call this. Auto and guided write, see the genre, style, your characters and world building, you need to mention them. So in the chapter summary, they need to be mentioned, cast list, somehow you need to mention that. And it sees the linked chapter summary. So it does not see the beats box. However, remember I told y'all in your chapter, in your outline, you can actually make it write beats instead. If that's your method, well, then essentially it is seeing your beats. So you can still generate beats and use those for your guided write thing if you want to go that route. If not, don't worry about it. So I'm going to close that out. So I'm just going to click auto write to get it started, and then we'll guide it some more. So let's look at our settings. You have a number of cards. I usually pick 1. I know a lot of people like to do 2 or 3. And I'm going to do it at, we'll leave it at 500 and see what it does. This creativity slider, the default's the middle. Put it all the way over here at most. It's going to give more ideas and veer off a little bit more. Or you can do it over here to where it stays on track. Auto and guided write are really good about looking back at previous text, and they have more of a read back context. A minimum of 1,000 words. So if there's 1,500 words in this document already, when I click that button, it reads back a minimum of 1,000 words, minimum. If you're using these expensive models like Excellent and Premium, those do have a bigger readback of up to 20K. So you can play with that. Keep in mind that gets expensive. The more input that's going in, the more cost it's going to cost. Obviously, the more cost it's going to cost, the more credits it's going to cost. Something John Creason noticed, and I used to leave this in the middle. He made a statement and I tested it out and I agreed that on most it flies through a scene, because I was talking about how it reads this chapter summary. So it's almost like its whole goal was to hurry up and get through this, right? Well, there's times I don't want this scene to end in 500 words, and that's now currently the max number on the card. John was talking about how this slows down the scene. So I started keeping mine on least, and I find it drags the scene out just right, at least in my opinion. So play around with that too. So most gives ideas, but also kind of rushes through the scene. Least sticks with what you have and drags the scene out a bit. And I'm actually going to use Best Prose on this one. So I got one card, 500 words for each card. You could put some key details in. There's debate on if it works just with auto write or guided write. I say it works on both. The team says it just works on auto write. So you play with it, you be the judge. But this is some places where you could put some additional details if you're using a beat, for instance. Or I like to use transition scenes details here. So I'll tell it where the characters are, what they're doing, where they need to go, or what they need to do, and it writes a nice transition scene for me. Otherwise, it's mostly blank, but you can put some style stuff here if you want. All right, so I am going to close this out again. So we have nothing here, but that's okay. And I'm going to use auto write to get it started. So it's looking at the linked chapter summary, any characters mentioned, and world building elements. And it's going to pop up over here. Well, it looks like, and this is kind of typical of Best Prose version 1, it jumps right in. So it actually missed them being introduced, for lack of a better word here. And Prince Charming's here. All right, so I'm going to insert this. And then I'm actually going to put my cursor up here. So if I wanted to continue this, I could put my cursor here and continue either with auto write or guided write. Guided write gives a prompt, which we're about to do. But as I said, this is where I think those of you who really want to write the majority of your stuff and just get AI's help every once in a while will really like. So let's pretend I typed all of this. And now I'm here and I'm like, oh, wait, I'm stuck. I don't know what I want. Now I can click auto write and just let it continue, or give it a prompt with guided write and have its help, and then go back to writing whenever I want. Again, this is how I like to do my second draft because I know more about my story. And to me, this is a very relaxing way to work. But I'm going to stick it up here because I want them to be introduced. So let's see how it does with, I'm going to try guided write first. Open the scene with Snow White stumbling upon the cottage and meeting the dwarves. I'm going to click go. Are there any questions on what auto and guided write look at versus the chapter generator? I said they're pretty much the same, except auto and guided do not see the beats. So let's say you worked on those beats. You're very proud of your beats and you want to use them. I wrote all of this, I'm stuck, but hey, I got this great beat that fits perfectly right here. I can just put my cursor where it goes, go into guided write and place that beat here as long as it fits. I think this holds 64 words. I could be wrong on that. Does anybody know for certain? All right, so this one worked better. So I told it, open the scene with Snow White stumbling upon the cottage and meeting the dwarves. So here we go. She's stumbling through the forest. Last thing she had eaten was a questionable apple given to her by a strange old woman. A little bit of a spoiler alert, but I also like it, given that the type of story this is. Here we got the cottage. Sleepy. So I really like this one, actually. Something we're able to do, y'all can't do this yet because I don't think y'all have Muse, but when you do have Muse, we now can do expand and give it instructions. And Stacy, Stephanie, Zed, somebody that has Muse, feel free to tell me if I'm doing this wrong. All right, so I'm actually going to place that instruction here.
Square brackets. Yes.
And use expand. So I can highlight it and click expand. Again, if you're not in the Muse beta, your expand, it can do this. I've played with it with instructions before plenty of times. However, your regular expand does not see story Bible information. It does not know how these characters look. It does not know how the cottage is going to look. So keep that in mind. It can either be really awesome or a total fail right now. But now with the Muse beta, they have connected it with that model and made it story Bible aware. So I kind of want to compare how it's going to do with that prompt versus what Guided Write, because I love what Guided Write gave. Let's see how expand will do for it.
Muse Expand also has look forward, which is the only feature inside Sudowrite that I'm aware of that can see the coming text.
So it'd be really great for transition scenes.
Absolutely. And is.
All right, so Lost and Hungry, she's in the forest again. So there was more description to it, and I like it. We have the dwarfs tripping over each other. All right, so I like the opening description better, but I actually like what Guided Write did as far as introducing the dwarves in this kind of chaotic scene right here. I like this a lot better for this story. Let's see what the cost comparison between those. Guided 34.35, Muse Expand 54.50. So yeah, in this instance, I prefer the Guided Write one, what it did.
Muse Expand is also not credit optimized quite yet.
Right, so do y'all understand the difference between writing with chapter generator, which is this, picking a model here, and auto and Guided Write? Any questions on those differences? All right, everything looks.
Nothing in chat.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, so let's move on to style tweaking. We will go through, actually, I'm going to copy. How did it guide it? Sorry, I'm just checking to see how this one opened up. All right. Yeah, I'm going to use the Guided Write one. Something to note. If you have words highlighted and you click the insert right here, it is going to replace what is highlighted. If you don't want that to happen, don't highlight it, okay? And you can just insert it or you can copy it. They do the same thing. So I'm just going to insert it there, or I could have copied it and just pasted it over here. You only got charged when it generated these cards, so you're not getting charged just to copy and paste over or click the insert. All right, so let's tweak our style. Right now, very kind of generic. I'm going to use quick chat for this, but I'm going to give you a document here for those who don't have it. This does have some style, header ideas, and all of that to play with. So definitely check all of that out for the genre and style box. The main things I want you to know is kind of think outside of the box. When I got that almost 100% usable prose, it was due to changing things, and I started having no fucks given narrative style in my style box. Avoid moralizing my characters and their actions. The no fucks given, just that's what I mean when I say think outside the box. Another good one with the prime examples of what I mean is this right here. The wording in this document works great in genre, in style, and in the character cards themselves. So these are very versatile. Go through this. I actually linked the chat conversations that I got these from, so you can play around and get some more for yourself. But these are kind of, they're very versatile. So use them anywhere that you want. I love playing with those. Is that the list you're always referring to? Because I've been linking the Sudowrite guide, my bad.
No, yeah, the list that I have is the one that I got from you,
So
which
it's,
I hope I've been crediting correctly, but yeah.
well, you just say Nicole has this list, and I'm like, I don't know, I have all these documents. So I've been linking the Sudowrite guide document, but now I know it's this one you want me to link.
Yeah, that's definitely the one.
Okay, my bad, sorry.
It's so good. Seriously, so good. You can mix and match and play with those, and they work so, so well inside character cards.
All right, so I highlighted this. Remember, with quick chat, quick edit, you can highlight up to up to 1,000 words. So I'm just going to ask it. I'm going to do quick chat, and I'm going to ask it to describe this writing style. I'm actually going to delete this because I know it reads that, and I don't want it to read that. So describe this writing style. Let's see what it says. I typically do this with chat, as you'll see in that style and character voice thing to get ideas, but quick chat is right here. It sees your story Bible information, and there is that free version, so don't hesitate to use it as well. Just remember, right now, there is no history or way to copy that out with a button. So if I like what it gives me, I have to manually copy and paste it somewhere. As soon as I close this out, I will lose it. It's gone forever. I cannot get it back. All right, so this writing style is whimsical and playful, strong emphasis on humor and lightheartedness, exaggerated descriptions. It's not bad. I would actually like this in my style box, I think. All right, so again, I could copy this out if I wanted to save it somewhere. And I can reference it. All right, so let's look at some more tweaking. First of all, with that style it gave me, I know I like that. I could go back to my style box. And wait a minute, there we go. I was gonna say I want the history button right there. All right, so now I just restored it, and I could compare what it gave me in quick chat with this. Do they line up? Or does my style box say it should be one thing, but quick chat saying something else, or vice versa? That's a way to kind of troubleshoot if you're not getting what you want. Either your style wording's wrong, more than likely that's it, actually. So if quick chat gave you something else to describe that writing style, troubleshoot, okay, is there anything contradicting that in your style box? But you can also get more nuanced with it. So I'm trying to find something I don't want. I actually don't like this line. I don't know. I'm being nitpicky now because I'm trying to find something. So I'm going to go back into quick chat. And if I wanted to, I could paste it in right there, but I have it highlighted. So I'm just going to say for that line. The point is find stuff that either you really like it, like, oh, wow, I love this line or this paragraph or line is really awful. Ask it to describe that writing style so you know now you can go put it in your style box or your header to avoid or include that kind of phrasing. So it's concise and sensory. I don't agree with that actually, but again, I was nitpicking trying to find something really quick. Actually, really, I like this one, so let's just find something else. We don't have any other chapters hit. There we go. All right. Here we go. So anyway, this is what I like to do with Chat GPT. I will give it a section of prose and I will start going through and I will tell Chat GPT, here's my prose for my whatever genre book. Here are the lines that I really like. Here are the lines that I don't like. Help me create a writing style for this. And that gives me something to immediately work with in the style box. And then I can tweak it further whenever that style generates something I do or don't like, I can refine it again. But mostly after I ask it, hey, generate a writing style based on what I like and don't like, from that point on, it's just narrowing it down and getting rid of anything else that happens to pop up that I don't like. All right, we got Gothic, whimsical. So in this instance, I would probably get rid of the Gothic stuff. And then I'm going to show y'all one more quick thing after this. But hopefully this helps y'all get a head start. Like I said, those feature styles are brilliant. So if I were doing this now, knowing what I know, go through, pick your models, like I said, with that minimal style box, find 2 or 3 you like, then play with the featured styles, find a couple that you like there, and then adjust whenever that featured style gives you some prose. Go through and start narrowing down, hey, I don't like this. Describe this line of text or the writing style of this section. Has subtle foretelling elements. Yeah. So in this instance, if I was doing this story, this chapter, I would actually just delete this one. I don't like it. Delete it. It's very simple, right? I don't have to play around with trying to get the AI to avoid doing things like that. What else would I want? Okay. So I'm actually going to go into a blank project first, and then we'll go back into that one. But I don't want anything tainting this right now. So Control K to bring up my quick chat. I'm going to actually use Muse and see what Muse does with this information. Let's just do what I'm used to. Let's take it one step at a time too. Sorry, y'all. I don't know if I told y'all I got a cold today, so now my brain is either going super slow or way too fast. This is one of the things, and it's linked either in the Sudowrite guide or that style and character voice. This is actually how I went about refining my style and getting those ideas in the first place. So we have our usual stuff. Kidnap. I did not know kidnapped by the mob was a trope. Gritty and edgy. So give me more. I'm not going to give it an example. I just want to see what it does with this first. This prompt. Okay. All right, let's see what it did. This one, epistolary. All right, so it is not actually, we're not communicating on the same page here right now.
Psst.
Yes,
Are you on regular or high quality?
I'm on Muse.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna give it the plain stuff. Um, and then I'm going to tell it. See what I'll do with all this now. Better. I still think I prefer what ChatGPT gives me when I go into it directly. This is all just too short. I feel like Chat puts a little bit more oomph into it. Cinematic grit. I've seen that somewhere. Somebody uses that. I don't remember who. Maybe Tomas. Poetic brutality. I'm gonna have to try that one actually. Let's just copy all this. Because something might be useful, right? All right, we have poetic brutality. That could be good. But again, that is what I mean when I say you can use this outside of the box wording for so much stuff. I mean, think about it. This would work as a genre, right? Hey, you want this story to be warmly persuasive with a sharp edge. It works for style. Hey, I want the prose warmly persuasive with a sharp edge. And again, it works as a character's description for how they talk or how they act. This is so versatile. I love it. And this has given me some of the best prose. I can't remember which one oh, wait, I did mark which one we used. What was the testing here? So I put what we used here, the flippantly, and that worked really great. I think we used 4.0 in that test or 4.0 mini. It was great. Gonzo romance. This one's actually, so there's a couple of these I actually want to try now. Now let's take, my prompt. Let's see how well, I'm kind of just jumping into the middle of the prompting here. Let's see how well it listens, or it can work with it. Okay, so give me writing styles. I don't want all of that. Let's see. Okay, is chat good?
Yes, it is good. And a lot of compliments on learning something new as always. And just a lot of good information. So keep it coming.
Glad y'all like it. I'm actually going to copy all of this in case, oh, it doesn't fit. Way too much stuff. Does anybody want this?
Yes, please.
Oh, wait, of course Lena wants it, huh? Because I couldn't get it to copy.
You know me. I was gonna ask and you read my mind. I see Stacy's laughing too. You all know me so well. Can predict my next move. And stuff too.
Well, in Lena's defense, she was not the only one. There is another individual that wants it. So
Oops.
Thanks, Steph. It's me and LM.
All right, I got too many boxes open right here and it's trying to modify one box, it's modifying a different one. There you go. So this is what it gave us for the Sudowrite. So there's my prompt. Tells you what it's looking at, but hey, can't avoid that. That's why it's good to start in a new project. If you really want to work with quick chat only, just go to a new project. You can even have a project just for quick chat, quick edit stuff, but I would delete those documents so it doesn't taint anything if you want something fresh. So what did it give us? SAS Machine 9000. Well, that's a new one. Anybody seen that before? Unsplosion. I think John would love this one. Stephanie. I'm loving some of the, I'm loving a lot of this actually. So this one was great. Deadpan Delight. Yeah, I'm going to use a lot of these. I'm going to actually copy this into that document that Stacy likes so much. I know we're over the hour. Does anybody have any questions?
chat is clear, unless Stacy has a question.
Right. Question with the beats. It was mentioned that we should put a beat header. Okay. For beats, your beat header does not go in here until after your beats are generated. Yes, correct. Exactly. Sorry, I just read the rest of it. So you generate beats first, and then you can come up here and put your beat header. Otherwise, it will get overwritten. So, I don't know if you were in the last class, the class that just happened before this. So I mentioned how I like to put instructions here in the outline box to generate beats. So any instructions here are me telling the AI, hey, whenever you generate these beats, I want you to do this. I want you to focus on this. So that affects these beats when they get generated, and then it stops. Now the instructions and outline have no more impact after the beats get generated and do what they're supposed to do. So then the header here, whatever I put, will now influence the prose and says, hey, when you write the beats, do this or focus on this. And that helps with the prose. And then again, you can also have some more instructions inside each individual beat, giving it some background context, or hey, focus on this or do this. It will be posted on my YouTube channel in a day or two. Or actually, no, not that one. Sorry, that was AI the author. Hopefully it'll be in the course videos channel soon. But essentially that's it. So I think I'm one of the rare few that does the instructions in my outline box. That is just the way I like to do it, because I know I'm not going to like the regular generated beats. So I'm telling it, hey, this is how I want you to do it. And then it generates better beats for me right away. And then my header can influence the prose and do all things I need to. Okay, yeah, so that's the old outline. I just have the beta outline. And for those who need that, let me grab that link for you. Here is the beta outline link for you. All right, so I am going to go ahead and stop the recording, but as usual, I'll hang around a few minutes, answer questions, chat with y'all a bit. But before I stop the recording, any questions that you don't mind asking now? All right. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. So the homework, again, if you're doing that, is take the same stride, run it through all of those models, see what you like best, pick 2 or 3 models, and then kind of work with Quick Chat what we did here today and start with your analyze or tweaking your writing style, all of that, or feel free to use from that other Notion document I linked, pick some style there and have that be your starting point, whatever works for you. And then tomorrow we're going to look at the laser tools more, and then we'll focus on some editing. So these next 2 days will be super light. So please bring all your questions. All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me. Bye.